Okay, let's go.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Ironman YouTube channel. Tonight we are doing a nighttime training run. As you can see, we've got the head torches on. I'm not running on my own tonight, I'm actually running with Mark. So we have just parked up, got our gear on. I'm actually wearing a different bag to what I was wearing on the last training run, so I'm going to attempt to try this bag and see if it works any better. We're just setting off from Weymouth Seafront. We're going to head onto the Southwest Coast Path. So as if this run isn't going to be difficult enough anyway, Mark has got us running on the pebbles during mile 2. Yeah, we've got to stretch on the pebbles now before we get to the first big hill, get onto the coast path, and then we'll tackle it from there. So we're just making our way out of Weymouth up the first hill. So that's where it's just coming up, the first couple of miles done, so just getting warmed up really. Going to get into the coast path now. We've probably got, I'm not sure, the best part of 4 or 5 miles before we hit the big hills. So we're just going to sort of work on our pacing, get a feel for the kit that we're wearing and figure that side of things out, because again, we're using these sessions to sort of prepare and test our kit out to see if we need to make any adjustments, any changes, buy any additional stuff, take stuff out. So one thing I will say is we've got very lucky tonight with the weather, because we were going to come out regardless of whatever weather we got thrown at us, but so far we've got a completely dry evening. There's hardly any wind. Whether that changes as we go through the night, I'm not sure, but right now the weather is absolutely perfect. Look what we've got here. Mark is a fellow Ironman Wales finisher. Look at that solid tattoo on his calf. Look at those calves, eh? So I'm having to watch my step here because it's very, very dark in this part of the trail, but we are about 5 miles in to the run now. We've probably got less than a mile of the kind of relatively flat section that we're on now left, and then we are going to be going into a couple of hours of relentless up and down on the hills. The biggest thing we've been discussing and working on so far during this first 5 miles is the pacing of our run. Sorry, I'm having to just duck down under the tree there, but yeah, the pacing of our run, because it is probably the biggest mistake you can make in an ultra, is going off too quickly. Obviously when you start the run you're feeling fresh and you're almost wanting to bank time, but when you're covering such distances as 100k or 100 miles in the example that obviously we're going to be doing for the arc, you can't afford to be going out really quickly and having your body blow up after 20-30 miles. So it's really, really important how you manage yourself. Yeah. 3 tier 1s. So we're on to the ascent now. On the ascent up to White Nove. So we'll make our way up this cliff and then we will be arriving at the roller coaster, which if you watched my last video I explained is a series of very steep up and down hills, great for training. We have made our way to the top of the first big hill on what they call the roller coaster here on the Southwest Coast Path. It's a really good evening for it tonight. There's not a lot of wind, which is really good. The first big cliff we went up back there, it was really, really misty, and you couldn't see past the end of your nose. That was pretty sketchy, so we had to bring the pace down a bit there. But yeah, we've got the poles out to navigate that first hill. We both feel really strong at the top, so we just stopped quickly just to get some a drink, and a gel on board, and then we're going to push on further down toward the next hill and make our way towards Lulworth Cove. We've been going for about 2 hours so far. I've done about 8 miles, so we're averaging about 4 miles an hour, which is exactly what we were looking for in this training run. So we made it to the turnaround point, which is Lulworth Cove. So we've just made the turn and we're about to make our way back towards where we started. We're literally going to go back the exact same route we've come, so we're going to be going back up and over those hills once again. We've been really disciplined with our pace and kept it down to around the 4 mile an hour mark, which is what we set out to do at the start, so we're doing quite well with that so far. Both feeling pretty good. So we've just had a quick stop to have a quick drink of water and get a gel, and now we're about to tackle the hills once again. So we're coming up the last of the really steep hills on this roller coaster. It's such a beautiful night, to be honest. I've tried to get a few like videos of some of the views and that, but it's just not doing it justice at all. The views out here tonight have been unbelievable. Full moon, really nice. I've had a few moments on the really higher bits of the cliffs where it's been quite hazy, so we've had to really sort of be careful with our pace and really watch our step, because we haven't been able to see too far in front of us. But it's been a tough night so far, sort of about half marathon distance into the training run at the minute, but we've just been up and down hills for the last couple of hours. Learning a few things again tonight. The poles have come in really handy. They really take the pressure off your legs, especially on the hills. So the poles have come in handy. As I mentioned at the start, I'm using a different bag tonight than what I used in the run last week, and I'm not too sure what I think. Kind of finding the bag a bit bulky, and it's not easy to access things when I need them, when I want to get to a drink or gels or anything like that. I'm having to unclip every time. So again, another reason why I'm doing these training runs is to figure out and get the kit right for when the event comes around. And I think after tonight I'm going to have another rethink on the bag situation. There's a lot of kit you need for the Arc, and as I'm a runner already, some of it I've got and some of it I don't. And you know, you can end up spending a lot of money on this stuff. You know, the event entry isn't cheap, and then when you factor in all the money you need to spend on equipment, it can get expensive. So you know, you do look to try and cut costs where you can and get certain bits of equipment cheaper, but I think I'm finding two pieces of equipment I wouldn't scrimp on now is the bag, because you're going to have to carry this bag for 100 miles and you need it to be comfortable. Secondly, head torch. We've had the moonlight, which has helped us out a bit tonight, but when we was going through the haze and when the moon got covered, it gets really dark, and it's so important that you can see clearly in front of you, especially on these coast paths. With the time of year that the Arc takes place, it's the middle of winter. The Arc 100 race doesn't start until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so within 4 to 5 hours of you starting, you're then going to be plunged into 13 hours of darkness. So it's vital that you have a good head torch. Ultra running, especially this kind of distance that we're training for, you know, it can really feel like you're going really slow, especially if you're sort of used to shorter distance running, like doing 10Ks and half marathons and that. It just feels like, you know, if you're doing running 4 miles an hour, and it just feels like you're going snail pace. But as I've said previously, ego, pace, you know, leave that at home. That goes out the window when you're coming into a challenge like this. You've just got to manage yourself. It's about getting round, it's about surviving, it's not about pace. About 18 miles in, sort of approaching our last kind of 5k of this training run. As I mentioned earlier, you know, I've just realised kind of through these last few training runs that I can't scrimp on the bag, the head torch, and probably the poles actually. I've got relatively cheap poles, but realised from tonight that they're really, really good. They really do save your legs. And Mark, he's got better ones than me, and yeah, he's found it really useful, and just the way he's been able to sort of get them out and pack them away a lot easier than myself. So if I'm gonna have a look at that as well. So more money to be spent. I want to get this right. I do not want to be DNFing this event through something as trivial as because I tried to scrimp on kit. We're back in the car. Run done. 20.5 miles. A lot of elevation, all in the dark. We got it done. So yeah, a few lessons learnt from it. As I already mentioned, the bag situation, I'm gonna have a think about that. Weekend off running now, gonna spend some time with the kids and relax, and yeah, we'll see you at the next training run.
Okay, let's go.
Next video preview, join me for a 50k training run down in Cornwall along the toughest stretch of the Arc 100 route.
Okay, let's go.